can't roll with us if your last name don't got no loyalty. Podcast party poppin', but you already knew. I've been rolling with these folks. This that Monday night crew. Millennials versus the world like. Millennials versus the world like you. Millennials versus the world like. Millennials versus the world like you. Millennials versus the world. Millennials versus the world like you. Millennials versus the world like. Millennials versus the world like you.
Yo, what's happening, good people, man? Welcome back to another episode of the Monday Night Crew. It's your boy K. Mims, the only spot you get authenticity and entertainment at the same time. Raleigh, if you do not already know, September 27th, we're on the way. Tickets are on Podge. Make sure you tap in. Podcast party is going to be a great one, man. So make sure y'all tap in. I got the ladies of the show, Miss Asia, Miss Princess. What's happening?
Hey.
I got my bro, Louis B. What's happening?
What's going on?
Man, we have a very special guest tonight, man. Appreciate you tapping in with us. Appreciate you being here. DJ Hanford, this might be risky, man. What's happening, brother? How you feeling?
Yo, what's popping? Hope all is well. Everything's everything. I appreciate the invite, man. I'm humble. What's goody?
For sure. Chilling, man. Chilling. Hey, look, tonight, I know you used to your thing, but you were part of the Monday Night Crew tonight, dog.
Say less.
You're part of the Monday Night Crew tonight, man. So, before we get into social news, what's up, Brittany? We got the lady of the show, Miss Brittany. What's happening? What up? So I have a question that I got this off another conversation that I think was worth happening before we get into everything. Do you all think that $100 is a cheap date?
Yeah. Yeah, hell yeah.
No matter, do you all so does it matter if you just meet somebody, you going out with your partner now, or you married? Is $100 a cheap date?
Yeah, we live in DC, right? Stevie Wonder can see that's a cheap date. Where you gonna go?
Texas Roadhouse, Longhorn.
Oh, so you like eating like cardboard and shit like that? Okay, I get it.
Hold on, time out. Are those restaurants off the table?
I mean, Longhorn is Snoop Dogg shit, Mims. You know that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to, this is my thing. If I spend $100 and I don't know you, I don't know how you can call me cheap.
No, not that you cheap, but it's a cheap date just in terms of the perspective of, where we live at. You know what I mean? Just okay, everything's so expensive, I guess.
Give me what's okay, Princess, Asia Lewis. What's y'all opinion before I say the next thing I'm gonna say?
Shout out to Club 520. That's where
yeah, that's where I got it from. For sure.
I know. Yeah. So I think it is relative to location. Because I think like if you get a meal, entree, and a drink each, that's $100. You know what I'm saying? In most places.
Yeah.
Cheap, man. I think that's such a harsh word. I think it's relative, man. I can't jump to one side or another. I just think it's relative, brother. I can't really, because some Brazilian restaurants you can get away with that. So
yeah, I would agree. I think cheap is not the word that I would use for $100. I think it's pretty average, because using the example of like Longhorn or whatever the other examples that you use. 2 entrees and maybe a drink a piece at those restaurants at this point is running you $100 for 2 people, for the most part. So cheap for me will be something like coffee or ice cream. To me, that's a cheap date. A picnic date is a cheap date. A movie date that's not at one of the theaters where you get the movie and the full meal, that's a cheap date to me. That's cheap. I think $100 is just like, it's average. Like, that's a little,
That's
we
crazy.
just went to a Mexican restaurant on Sunday and spent $100. And that was, we was chill. We won't dress or nothing like that.
Asia, what you think? What's $100? Can you get away with it? Is that a cheap date?
I agree with Princess and Lewis on this one. And I'm really thinking like, I think it depends on like at what stage are we when we are like, if you're trying to impress me and then it's like, and we've been talking for a little bit and like you pull up and you're like, ooh, girl, I'm about to wine and dine you. And then you're paying the same amount for the both of us that I spend on myself. Because keep in mind, I'm single, and y'all already know, like, I really do a lot of solo dates, and I like experiences. So for me, it kind of it really depends on the context, to what Lewis is talking about. But yeah, I agree with Princess, though. I think it's average.
That's crazy. Brittany, what you think? $100 a cheap date?
um, no. I'm gonna say no, and I say no because I feel like it's the first date, right? Like, so if you spend more than that, for me, my expectations are gonna be set super high, and every day after that, you're gonna have to exceed that number. So I do think $100 as a limit for the first date is pretty good because we're doing something simple, like we're just getting to know each other. But moving forward, you might have to flex the numbers just a little bit.
Man, I got a follow-up question, Keenan, after you make your point. It's bad, but I want to
Go ahead,
ask.
bro. Go ahead. I ain't really got a point. I got a troll. Go ahead, brother.
All
Go
right.
ahead,
Oh
man.
God.
I gotta ask y'all. Is there a certain number threshold that puts an expectation on you women to do anything after that?
That's a great question, my
A
brother. 'cause
certain
I
That's
knew
dollar
Lewis was
that's
gonna
amount.
ask
exactly
that.
where I was
I
going,
knew
dog.
Lewis was gonna ask
That's
that.
Is there a
exactly
certain
where I
number
was
like
going.
once you pass this, you like, ooh, I may have to, you know,
That come
we
with
may have to
something.
talk about this thing.
That come with something.
Probably, I think to Asia's point, like what she just said, how she takes herself out on solo dates and stuff. You can't really thoroughly impress me with anything that I'm currently doing. So that's not gonna make me feel like, oh, I gotta give him some tonight because he, you know what I'm saying? Like even taking me to Steak 48, I go to Steak 48 or Roof Chris or Fleming's. Like I could go sit there by myself. So like that threshold is not making me be like, hey, I gotta put something out tonight. So it's gonna have to be above that for me personally. But everybody has their threshold.
Yo,
I
So there
real
is
agree.
a
quick.
number. You're saying there is an experience or a number that puts that pressure on you go on.
I've never experienced that where I felt pressured based off the experience, but I do feel like there is a threshold for certain women. Yes.
And
Yeah,
I
for
do
sure.
think that I don't think it's necessarily like a number on it either, because um I think that there are times, like Lewis, to your question, I think for women sometimes we think that the man thinks it's like, oh, he taking me here, he thinks he's getting something tonight, right? I think sometimes it's more of that as opposed to I feel pressured to then do that, right? I think that's the first point. But I also think that there are some women that like whatever the date is, if it's a really good time, or if he, let's say they've been dating and he goes above and beyond what he normally does do, the woman might say, not because he spent a certain amount, but it's like oh, he did his thing. Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Oh, for sure.
I gotta,
Real quick,
this
hey
is how I'm
man,
gonna say thing
appreciate
now.
everybody tapping in, man, from close and far, man. Appreciate you tapping in. Hey, we're gonna throw it to you though. My boy Lewis asked, do you think it's a number with a threshold where you feel like you setting a statement to your date if you go over a certain amount, a number, a threshold? It may come with some things after this number. What's your
Oh,
thought?
well, you get some cheeks.
Hey,
Mhm.
whatever it is.
Indeed, Cowabunga. I think she gon' she she know if she want to have sex with you, right? There's a lot of standards for the man that she kind of don't prefer, right? That man got to jump through way more hoops. If she already got a preference for you, all you got to do is maintain the status quo, right? The date number is really inconsequential when she really feeling you. You know what I mean? So that's a misnomer. Also, I heard Brit, shout out to Brit, talking about if I spend too much on the first date, I got to go up another level. That's another problem. She ain't dictating shit to me. Not saying Brit specifically, but like
Yeah.
women think I'm the one paying for the date. I went to Steak 48 because I like Steak 48. But if I have a taste, you know what I mean, for Cheesecake Factory, then that's when we'll go the next time. You see?
Yeah.
Right? That like they don't get to set the precedent based on their palate, right? I do what I want to do when I want to do it. You know what I mean? But shout out to Brit though. I understand it. I just don't think men should allow that, that type of dictation.
And ladies,
But do
how
you
much?
think it sets the expectation though? Like if you
No,
lead with that,
no,
well,
ma'am. Because that's where I want to go that evening. You know, I think largely because men have to pursue, we should control the environments we in. You know, now like if I approach a woman, I probably take her to a place where I DJ at, right? I have leverage at that place. I don't pay for the drinks. When I walk in, everybody know me, right? Because women like cachet too. Let's keep it tall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'll be right back. I get on the set for 20 minutes. How you did that? Oh, because you know, regular shit, right? You know what I mean? So the impression you make, that dollar amount matters less and less.
You bringing her to the spot to your job on a date if you don't know her like that?
Yeah, I mean it's 20 clubs, so I just pick one. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I mean? Because you DJ so many places, right? But to your point though, Mims, it'd be like an off night. I'm just saying, like, say my man DJing. I'm like, yo, we getting saucy. Okay, boom. Let me get on the set real quick. You know, just little things like that, right? I think prowess matters to women, right? Esteem, influence, you know, that's what makes a man valuable aside from his pockets. You know, so
ladies, any thoughts on that? Where that stands with a guy in the times where women are doing more? Do you think that still holds value? Is much value? Because I do think it holds value. I do think it's what women want. But what's y'all thoughts on setting that bar, setting that standard, and men still leading the way and being frank about it from the rip?
I can respect it. You know, I respect the fact that if you tell me off rip, like, this is where I want to eat, this is where I want to take you, I can respect that. But I just kind of feel like you are, in my mind, okay, the question was, in today's society, I do feel like women have expectations in their minds of, okay, this is what's going to happen next, or what you spending on the next date, or what are we doing? You always got to take it to the next level, because a lot of women they ready to get to the goal. It's all this, oh, what I bring to the table, what do you bring to the table? Like, everybody's so microwave relationships, trying to get there real quick. So I just feel like, yeah, when you take me somewhere and it's real nice in today's world, it is setting the bar. It is setting the expectation of what's to happen, moving forward.
So Mims, can I retort? Not retort, but just add on, right?
Hey, brother, you here? Yeah, it's your show tonight.
Indeed. So she's right, but not in the point that she thinks she's right. It ain't about the ambiance. It's about the precedent that I set on that date with my behavior, right? So, Britt, right? Let's say we go on a date, right? So there's certain things I don't eat, right? I don't eat like shrimp, crab, lobster, pork, none of that, right? So the precedent would be set on that date that you can't eat that either, because I don't want to cause you to err based on my belief system, right? See, that's the type of shit that men should do on dates, right? Also, I'm gonna get your order and I'm gonna order for both of us. See, those are the things that men should set the precedent on and maintain, because you can easily meet that. And she'll forget about the restaurant, right? Because you are the impact to her. So those are the precedents that I agree you got to keep for her to maintain, but not the restaurant.
Interesting.
So let me
I agree.
Go ahead, Louis.
No, I just thought it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So hold on. Let me make sure I heard you correct, my brother. You said you ordering for her on the date.
Yeah, well, so I'll get her order, right? So me and B on a date, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, beloved, what you like on the menu? Come on, B, let's role play this shit. Come on, fuck it.
Go ahead, Brady.
Oh.
Hey, beloved, what you like on the menu?
Let me get the seafood Alfredo.
What's in it?
Scallops, shrimp, lobster.
Yeah, man. So, based on my belief system, right? I don't want to cause you to err, So I would have to politely ask you to pick something else on the menu if you don't mind. But it's just though. So what was your second option?
All right. Let me get the steak and mash.
You nervous?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, good. I like it. and then when the waiter comes over or the server comes over, Mims, I would place the order for both of us.
You don't think that's so respect. Mm-hmm. I get it. Mm-hmm. You don't think that's specific to a certain type of woman? I don't think every woman that got her own going for that, bro. I'm gonna be real with you.
Yo, I think I agree. I also think they all want leadership, right? But they want leadership on their terms.
Okay.
And so I think you got to put that foot forward ASAP, right? To dissolve any of the delusion that they supposed to be in charge. in these type of situations, right? Now she has a affinity or proclivity for something, right? Like my wife, as an example, has a doctorate in education, you know. So when the kids go to school, what do I say? Babe, what you think? Babe, you handle that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But pick man, like traditional man shit, she take a proper role in that because I do those things well. You see what I mean? Right?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
about delegation, discipline, and understanding the strengths.
So I wholeheartedly agree, but
Mm.
I also think that time got to be proven before
Mhm.
it turns into that. Like, so for the most part, what you're saying is true. I do believe women want to be led. I believe we are in that shoes. We're in that role.
Mm.
However, I'm gonna kick it to you, G. You just met Shorty. I think it's gonna take some time to get there. I don't think if she's doing what she's doing in her world, I
Mm.
think that it gets tricky when if she's doing these things, we just meet and I'm taking you out on. We've been talking 2 weeks. I'm gonna hit you in a quick spot. We have a conversation. I don't disagree with leading that way. I just think it takes more time. And I think the thing is now, how many dudes are really willing to live with the consequences of moving like that?
Yeah,
That's the other side of it.
yeah. Like a lot of us don't have a bunch of options, right? So
For
we
sure.
tend to tread lightly, but we psych ourselves out. You ever see a person that playing so much they don't get nothing done, right? People be overthinking stuff, right? Do what you've been taught to do, right? God bless you, got your father in your life. Do what your father taught you to do, right? Do what you seen on Bronx Tale. You see what I mean? That shit still works. Ain't nothing new under the sun. It's just that men be treading too lightly, trying not to make a mistake, right? If you leading, right, and being authoritative rubs her the wrong way, you exposed her early. Put her in the bathroom. You know what I mean?
I don't understand that
What?
analogy. What does that mean?
Oh, Bronx Tale. I don't know if you remember, but they was gambling, and he's like, "This nigga's ugly. Put him in the bathroom," because he didn't want to mess up his dice game.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
My bad.
yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. So I
My
don't
bad.
say
You know,
it.
to that point, I think I think the foundation of what you're saying and what's been said is right. But I think that as a leader, and I think this is applicable to anything. I think I could come in and say I'm the leader and you gotta fall in line, or I can earn it. You know what I mean? And I think that I think I'm more effective, just me speaking for myself, when I earn your trust.
Yeah.
And then I'm able to maybe, apply those principles into those settings, such as a restaurant or whatever. I think going into it with the expectation that we both assume and we both know that, hey, this is what I'm doing. I kind of move that way from the outside, but once you get closer, I make it a point to be able to demonstrate my flexibility and my openness.
Yeah.
But I think earning it probably goes a lot further than me knowing it, you knowing it, and we both expecting that. I think earning it, and I think it goes from both sides, right? I think there's certain things I should, even though there's gender roles, I think me earning, or my spouse or whomever I'm dating, exposing that level of submissiveness throughout the journey holds a little bit more value than if we all coming into it like that. Does that make sense? If we all operating that way from jump? Because I think I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. You were so articulate and soft in your nature and your delivery, but it was still kind of harsh. I'm gonna be honest with just from hearing it on my end. That still was kind of harsh. And I think that, especially as an introduction, right, to a dynamic or a relationship, you kind of can lose people, especially in today's society, that could be open to that. But when you lead with that, I think that's such a unique experience and unorthodox for today's time that it could probably shift and go in a different direction if you haven't earned the right to do that.
Yeah, 100%.
Am I making sense?
Yeah, you're making a lot of sense. And I just don't tend to tread lightly that often, and so I do have that slight issue, right? Like, your gifts can be your curses, right?
Yeah.
So being forward and stubborn, I've been able to be successful, but I also took longer to get to some areas because of those things too, But I think the benevolence, Lou, right, in my delivery to Britt, like, even though we just role playing, right, we don't know each other, right? Even her disposition was still soft towards me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And also, I get a slight read, right? I don't know Britt from a can of paint, but I don't think she a soft ass nigga. You know what I mean? So like I could see it, like, not that. Sorry, I ain't mean it. Like, I'm just saying, like, like she not sensitive. And I think she appreciated the benevolency, and we were able to move forward.
Yep.
But I 100% catch your drift, right? Risk and reward, I think, is economics 101. You know,
For sure. Anybody got anything else left for the cheap date? The cheap date. No?
Real quick, the
Go
only
ahead.
thing,
great question, man.
appreciate the conversation. For me, I feel like there are also some things within this that I would have, or we would have conversations about prior to getting to the restaurant.
Yeah.
I would already know that you have certain dietary restrictions. I would also be able to look at the menu so that in that moment, me as a woman, I would not feel like, okay, he told me that he's picking the restaurant and he's picking this and this and this. And it's like, okay, well, where do I actually fit in besides being a warm body in this environment? Right. And so I think being able to have the opportunity to then showcase like, okay, cool, like, yeah, I can go with the flow and all these types of things, but give me time and space to do that. Right. Afford me that. If you are trying to show who you are, right, be in that leadership position, but also give me a chance to, if we're talking about like leadership, to kind of like come along with you in that journey, as opposed to feeling like, oh, well, I was really looking, I looked at the menu, I was really looking forward to that seafood. I would pick something different if I knew, and we had that conversation beforehand.
I agree for sure.
That's all.
I agree.
Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody tapping in, man. New or old, appreciate y'all tapping in, man. Salute to This Might Be Risky coming through tonight. We about to get, I got one social news topic we about to get into, and we're gonna move into video reaction. So I want to know this from every end, man. So I didn't share this to the group yet because I wanted. So last week, Kyla Pratt celebrated 21 years of engagement. What's too long to put that out there to say like, hey, we're celebrating this many years of engagement versus where's the cutoff? And this is why I think this conversation is important, right? Like people say, you know, everybody's relationship, mind your business. We ain't got to do these certain things. But what's too long? Why get engaged if you're just going to be engaged for 20 years? So what's your thoughts on celebrating 21 years and how long is too long when you in an engagement?
Wow, that's great. 21 years. My bad, Prince. I was thinking out loud. I wasn't even saying.
No, you get. I was actually talking to one of my friends about this the other day.
Go ahead,
21 years is entirely too long. And I try to think about it from like all aspects, right? Like, is it like a financial reason? Like, y'all don't want to tie the knot because somebody's trying to cover themselves here. But then I'm thinking, like, is there not a really good prenup that can happen? Like, I was trying to give the benefit of the doubt. But at the end of the day, 21 years didn't make sense to me because at this point, I think it's it's your 21 year anniversary, in my opinion. I can't be with this 21 year engagement. That sounds crazy to me, but as long as they are healthy and happy and it works for them, hey. But as for me and my house, I would not be engaged for 21 years once I'm engaged.
What's too long? Tell me what's too long?
For the engagement?
Yeah.
It depends. But
back to that.
I would say no, there are things that come into play, but I would say anything over 3 years for an engagement is too long, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like, I think if you have to go past 3 years for whatever the reason, whether it be finances or whatever, I think if you really want to marry that person, you will because the courthouse is there.
For sure.
Isn't Kyla Pratt like 30 something? 21 years. She got engaged at 11?
No, she's in her 40s.
Yeah, she is.
Okay. All right.
She got to be right at 40. Yeah.
She just looks amazing.
She does. I'm gonna piggyback off that, dog. Like I'm not. For me, a dude, I think it's a bad look if you engage for that long as a guy. Like where we headed? Like I don't. I'd rather be with you for an extended period of time, ask you to marry me, and the engagement be short, versus be with you for a short period of time, ask you to marry me, and then the engagement be long. I also think that you typically see women who are the most successful ones in their relationship not really pressed to actually get married. If those roles were reversed to me, there would have been a little more pressing for that marriage to happen than if the woman is the one that's, I'm gonna say, leading the way for the sake of the conversation. Then the marriage ain't that deep. We see what Holly Berry just caught, how she was catching strays. Go ahead.
Not being funny, but who is the fiance? Do we know? Like, is
He's a
he?
tattoo artist
Oh,
in
okay.
LA. Yeah.
And there's 2 kids involved, by the way, y'all. Like, they have 2 kids together.
Yeah, but I just think it's weird how you can slow roast when she's the one that's here, but I don't think he'll be afforded that same opportunity if he was the famous guy. I ain't gonna put my boy Travis Hunter out there, but if he was the one that was famous and everything happened, now I gotta hurry up and get married. But we could wait 21 years when you leading the way. I think that's dangerous. I think that's dangerous.
I think it depends on like the thing that's coming to mind because I'm trying to understand the scenario. And the only way that I can, I don't know, make sense of it is like that it was a compromise. So let's say one of them wanted a marriage, one of them, hear me out, and one of them um, did not. One of them wanted a ring, and the other one did not want to get married. That is exactly what's happening. There's a ring and no marriage, but they have a family. They seem to be happy together. And so for me, that feels like there was a compromise. And it was like, okay, cool, you can get the ring if that's what you want. I don't want to get married. And that's what's happening. And they're living happily ever after.
So I just think it's crazy. In last couple months ago, we talked about ringless engagements, and we was up here going absolutely nuts about if a man could commit without showing the ring.
Mhm.
And now you have a man who gave the ring in 21 years of space.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
Oh,
Couldn't be
but
me.
the thing, I
Couldn't be
thought it was
me,
about,
but it's them.
but she got the ring though. The
I'm
original
saying that.
conversation was, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I'm trying to understand how their situation, I'm trying to make sense of it for myself. I'm not saying that I agree with it because, like Princess said, as for me and my house, right? It can be me. But it just feels like that was a compromise and they didn't want to lose each other. They have a family together. In my mind, that is the only way that that makes sense for them.
And to be clear, Keenan, I don't think that these situations have anything to do with each other. But if you want my honest opinion, I feel like that this is the equivalent to a ringless engagement, which is what the whole conversation and back and forth was about. Like, if you're going to propose to me, give me a ring, but nothing's going to happen within 21 years, no matter whose like fault it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
It may as well be a ringless engagement, in my opinion. Like, I feel like you know how people walk around and be like wifey or my hubby, and
Yeah,
there is no ring.
yeah.
That's what I equate that to that. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
how I feel. It might as well
Mm-hmm.
be a ringless engagement.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to agree with him so bad because but we never had the conversation. But this was never introduced as a topic of conversation for us to be able to create the value of it, right, in connection with the other topics. So I want to harp on it, but you are right, Princess, because we never brought this up. Um, I will say this though, that like I feel like an engagement should be the shortest part of span of a relationship because all it is a commitment to a plan, right? Like marriage is like an action, saying that you're exclusive is an action. Getting engaged is literally a plan for marriage. Like it like the by definition, so I think that I don't understand what value it holds if there is no outcome, right? I guess it holds none, essentially.
Some
So
some
as far as
people.
time goes, I think that can only be defined if a marriage takes place. But outside of that, I don't think we can really I don't think there's a definitive timeline. I think it's just an agreement to a plan, and I think it's no longer an engagement at this point because there's no plan. Like if she said, "Hey, we plan to get married this year. We've been engaged for 21 years. We plan to get married year 22." Right? What makes it an engagement at that point?
Do you think he
Aaron, I'm
should
about to get
propose
to your
again?
super chat, man. Appreciate you. Britt, did you have something before I get to this?
Yeah, I was just gonna say to Lewis, I don't agree with it. 21 years is way too long. But I actually have friends that have been in relationships engaged for 14, 15 years. And when I asked, like, what are we doing here? The issue is being legally bound to somebody. Like, there are people that have issues with being legally binded to that person, whether it's, I don't know, for whatever reason, medical, debt, whatever, but they have started a family, they have 3 children together, they're happy, they live together, they, that legal part, like filing taxes together, all this stuff, they have an issue with the legalities of it. Why do we need, I the way it was explained to me was, why do I need to sign a piece of paper to prove my love for you, and I've been doing all these things? Like, we can create the family, we can do all these things, but it's literally just a signed piece of paper. And
For
I
sure.
I agree with you, but were those people
One second, Lou.
engaged?
I got
I'm
you,
sorry.
Lou. We can come back to you. Aaron, man, appreciate the 5. So explain what would be the difference if they were 21 years married instead of engaged. They're
That's what I was just.
together either way, right?
mm.
What y'all think? What's the difference? 21 years of marriage, 21 years of engagement.
I mean, personally, I look
Mm.
at marriage as a covenant under God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like, I look at it more as in just that piece of paper. I get when people make that argument, but from a
Mm-hmm.
spiritual aspect, I look at it deeper than that. But I mean, technically, yeah. I mean, 21 years is 21 years, right? As far as a relationship.
Okay. I'm gonna say something
I
that I know
think there's
everybody.
other.
Go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
real quick. The thing for me that makes it different is like I have also seen like where people are together for so long, but then something happens to them and they cannot sign for specific things. They cannot give any information to release the body. They
Yeah.
cannot even sell their house. There's so many different things that like there's so many benefits to a marriage that no, you will not get with just an engagement. You will not get with just 21 years together. And those are just some things, for example, and I literally know people that like, it's like, oh my goodness, this person now has dementia. And if anything happens to them, I can't do anything. And they've been together literally my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And can I just ask a quick question out of ignorance, honestly? I know it depends on the state, but where does common law marriage fall in this? Like, let's just say, depending on your state, if the 21 years, if it is common law marriage, what do you have access to that is different than like if the marriage was technically like legally binding?
I
Because at
think
this
that's
point,
defined.
is it a common law marriage? What they
I think
have?
it's defined when you leave. Like if someone separates or someone passes, what they have, what they're entitled to. I think it's defined in regards to in those moments, not so much in decision making, like for medical
Okay,
issues or things like that. I think that's defined when people separate. So I don't
okay,
know if it's
okay, gotcha.
that definitive or not. But yeah, to the point I was making with what Brittany mentioned, like if someone's together that long, but are they engaged? Like if you're engaged, like I was saying, you're making a commitment to get married eventually,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you engage for 21 years, you obviously have no plan to get married. So just be together.
Yeah, the engagement is arbitrary,
I
right?
Yep.
That uh, I think that ring was a Hail Mary ring, right? It was to
Okay.
mitigate some poor behavior or things happening, right? So what'll happen is to get someone to stay, right? They throw a Hail Mary being an engagement ring, right? Now that he got her to stay, they probably just going through with their modus operandi. But there's poor behavior that probably resets the when we getting married because it don't take that long to see sunshine. I'm not doing anything for 21 years. That don't even make sense, you know. So that's what I see. I see a lot of mistakes, and I think that the relationship is good, right? But we're assuming that they have money, right? For the most, I mean, we always think actors and stuff have money. So let's say
Yeah.
they do, right? That I think the marriage construct is most important at that juncture because you do have so many things, and how do you transfer that wealth? A lot of things get caught up in mediation and litigation because there is nothing right and exact, whether it be a will, power of attorney, and things of that nature. So when you have assets, you have to make more of a consideration, especially towards your kids when it comes to those things. And marriage makes those things absolute in terms of the rights and such. And if
It
Mm-hmm.
he's a
protects it.
indeed, and then if he's a tattoo artist, right? Let's say his income is significantly lower than hers, right? Um, you can if you file joint, you can default to the tax bracket in which he falls in, right? So now just imagine how much money that could save. So I see benefits not being taken advantage of, which seems foolish to me. like a 21-year engagement. So,
Mhm.
you know,
I'm gonna be real. I wouldn't, and as a guy, I'm not gonna be held to a husband's standard without like. Why would I set myself up like that? Because I think this is the side that everybody don't want to talk about. There's things you could do while you a boyfriend and while you a fiance that you cannot do while you a husband. There's things like that you can't do. So why would I then go put myself in this boat of expectation? And for real, I might as well be on this side of the. I might as well be a boyfriend or a husband. The engagement phase is really preparation into switching over. Anything I used to do, let's take cheating off the table. We know how that go. But anything I used to do, ways I'm getting rid of, you're learning to get out of those in the way into your marriage. Why am I going to sit 21 years? Let's be real. You already have an expectation on me now. We're moving as a married couple. I don't want that I don't want that expectation if I'm not going to get the other side of it. So as a guy, I wouldn't sit around. I ain't gonna say I would leave, but I'm not doing that. I don't think that makes sense, especially if I could take care of myself. Now, if she's taking care of him and he doing a little bit here, a little bit there, okay, cool. But if I'm taking care of myself, I ain't gonna ask her what we doing, dog. But I'm not sitting around for 21 years. It don't make sense.
Yeah.
I don't think you get as much out of that deal as you would think. And if she willing to have 2 kids, she ain't protecting too much.
yeah, he that's another. Hey, Mims, I'm actually glad you mentioned that. That's another thing that he didn't protect for himself, right? You the rights are automatic under the guise of marriage, right? You don't have to establish paternity or fatherhood rights when you're married, you know. But now he had those kids out of wedlock, so I would assume it's established now, right? We're making positive assumptions about a 21-year marriage, which is like is oxymoronic, you know.
Yeah.
So hopefully all those things are established. And if they're not, what happens if it really hits the fan in year 22? So
that's crazy.
Yeah. Kenny, you just said something, bro. I didn't realize when you get married, you're not so much committing to the marriage and the person, you're committed to yourself too.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And I don't think, you know, I think a lot of people talk about the fun side and all that, but I think if you care, you know, I look at whenever you're a husband, if you're a guy and you become divorced later on, I'm not comparing what it looks like on a man or a woman, but what I will say, the question is asked coming up next. Why, how, when, what? You know what I mean? So like that's gonna look worse sometimes when you got to explain that versus if I just never got into it. You know what I mean? Like if a marriage fails, they rarely, if ever, look at the lady. No offense, but it's usually a guy that they're like, "What you do? What happened?" I always put it like this: if you were married and you were to lose your home, she could be working and you could be a stay-at-home dad. It don't matter what you're doing. They're gonna look at the husband. What happened to the crib? Why is it gone? So I think as a guy, you got to protect certain things because, hey, let's be real. Like there's an expectation of your commitment to me too. So we got to wait 21 years. If I'm all right, why I'm sitting around for that? What am I getting from it at this point?
Yeah. That's a profound point. I like it.
Yeah. Anybody else on Kyla Pratt and her lifelong engagement?
I wish them the best.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so man, we got some videos sent in, man. We got something to react to. Let's get into them. All right, man. So we live in an age where, you know, people showing things, people doing things. This teacher was shown at school. Is this professional or unprofessional?
Teacher Bay neighbor. Miss Williams. Oh, she's so pretty.
All right, so Miss Williams caught hella backlash about what she had on. They said it was unprofessional. She should wear something else. What's y'all thoughts on what she had on? Was it okay? Is it unprofessional? Is there a certain way women specifically got to dress when they're in front of kids in the profession of education?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna just take it there because listen, ladies, if you know you a little curvy, like that skirt was extra tight, and it can become a distraction. Let's just call it for what it is, right? The kids no longer paying attention to anything that's being taught. They back there counting whatever they counting. And I just feel like there's so many other options that she could, even down to the shoes was a little bit if you can leave the schoolhouse and go get some drinks, go to the club, then afterwards, and then come back home, like then for me, your outfit is a bit questionable. Now I do understand that there are some curvy women, and there's certain things that we just have to put on that we can't help ourselves. But that particular outfit, I just feel like if the skirt had a little bit more spandex in it, it would have set the tone a little bit better because you are teaching students at the end of the day.
Brittany.
What?
Yeah.
She can't help she's shaped like that.
She absolutely can't. But
She
there
can't
are
help
other,
she's shaped, but she blessed,
there's
man. That ain't got nothing to do
but
with
there's different options you can put on that don't necessarily have to be as tight or
what
as
skin. What skin was she showing?
You say ass tight or ass tight?
it's not.
You stupid boy. You stupid. What skin was she showing?
It's not about the skin that she was showing, Keenan. I'm talking about the skirt
Yeah.
was so tight. I think she couldn't even bend over properly. Like I don't. I mean, maybe that's just my personal opinion and how I feel about it. But I just kind of feel like there's other options. As a woman, we know that there's other options, and she decided to put that on.
That's a fact. That's a pencil skirt, right?
Yes. Hmm.
For what?
Yeah,
What if a fire break out? She
right.
can't run. She can't help with nothing. She not functional like that. Mims, you can't, and it's a distraction. What grade is that?
I think it was fifth, if I'm not mistaken. No, I think it may have been middle school. I'm gonna be honest. I don't
Oh
know the
no, you
grade.
can't wear that in middle school.
Even worse. Even worse.
Yeah.
No, I think so. I'm gonna go on the opposite of that. I think it'll be worse in a high school setting. I think the older the kid is, the worse it will be. Elementary school kids are still a lot, and that well today's age, this is not as much. But I'll say this though, there's literally I ain't gonna say no names. I think she's an amazing educator. There are literally educators viral on TikTok right now for showing their assets. They dress it up like it's a suit. They dress it up like it's an outfit, but they're showing their assets every day. They're getting praised for it, and it's going crazy.
Mims, question: you think she's doing that? You think that's her agenda?
No, I don't think that. Now let me say this. I do think the skirt was too tight. That's the only thing. I think she was covered up
bring
well.
it back up.
Yeah, I got you.
I want to see something because I think there was a dance move in there that I think illustrates her agenda. Let me see.
Teacher Bay neighbor.
She knows she getting recorded.
Miss
Is that a BBL?
Pose. She's so
I
pretty.
think that's real, man.
We didn't even see from behind. We don't know what's back there.
Oh, Lewis.
No, we can see it. We can see it. So, bro, she got caught. Hey, look, put it to you like this. I bet you a kid ain't recording no teacher they don't relate to. Like, I don't think what I'm saying, it was a girl. It was a girl, it was not a young, it wasn't a dude.
Indeed.
She was giving her a compliment. What I'm saying is, I don't think that was the agenda, bro. What I will say, it's a bit too much because of the skirt. That's the only reason if she wear, because you can wear jeans just that tight. You can wear something that show that thing the same way. However, if Marcus just said research purposes. However, I don't think it's anything wrong with her wearing it to work. I don't think it's unprofessional, the actual outfit. Because if she was skinny, we wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah.
Or she was really fat.
Yeah, if she was
They
unattractive.
would talk about it. If she was fat, they would talk about it.
You think
They
if
would
she was
body
like
shame her if she was
unattractive and like, undesirable to most?
But I think but Lou, Mims got us answering to some shit when he said if your aunt had a penis, she'd be your uncle. That don't the fact that
Not be mine.
she definitely would be your aunt, right? The fact that she is curvy, right? She has to preclude certain wear. The lace-up shoes, open toes, that just doesn't make sense in terms of functionality. Basically based on the behavior of these kids, right? And the girls relate to her why, right?
Okay.
I want to be relatable for things that are overwhelmingly positive that are going to benefit the children, right? I don't see the clothing with that age group being beneficial to them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so let me shoot this question back at you.
Yes, sir.
That's your kid. That's your kid's teacher.
Mhm.
That was a outfit. That's not what she wears every day. best teacher the kids have ever had. Hell of a teacher, great relationships, does her thing. Does it change? Does it change that outfit if you know what she's really about? It's not about, it's no agenda. She's not doing all the things that may be implied based off the video. She's doing her job. She's a hell of a teacher with it. Does that change what you think about the outfit?
And this is a one-time wear?
Hey, let's say it's not. Let's say it's 2 out of the 5 days. But she does wear it. It's consistent, but you know she's there for the right reason. She does her job. Hell of a teacher. The kids rock with her. Does it change your opinion of the outfit?
No, because the perception, right? So we don't know that, right? But what we do know is what we see. People write people off all the time for how they see them, right? For their countenance, you know? And what it does show is a lack of responsibility, right? It shows short-sightedness because she doesn't understand her influence, you know? Like when we look at certain things, if you are in a place of prominence, prowess, and influence, you have to be more responsible. You don't get to have as much fun as everybody else. Those are the rules, you know? As this platform blows up, you're going to see there's certain times, you know what? I got to go home. They wilding. Fun wilding, but they wilding. Right? You know. So when you the man, right? When you the woman in these situations, you have to be very cognizant of everything around you and what the messaging could be and how people can perverse your message. And that's what happened to her, you know?
Yep. Let not your good be evil spoken of. That's all I heard, you know, when you were saying that, because you hit the nail on the head when you frame it in the context of responsibility and what she is as a teacher, as an educator. You do have a certain responsibility in how you display yourself. And I think, as unfair as it may be, being a woman built with that type of physique, knowing how things can potentially be a distraction, you do have to, you don't get the same freedom to dress as other people. So that's a great point. I agree with that.
But I do. Oh, go ahead, Adrian.
Go ahead, boo.
Okay. So what I do want to add with that, like I see it both ways. I do agree with you guys, but for one, it was the shoes for me. Like I feel like if you're gonna kind of teeter the line a little bit, you got to pick a side. And the shoes with the skirt was entirely too much. I'm not saying that the skirt alone wasn't too much, but having both of them with the string up shoes, like that was just entirely too much for me personally. However, with outfits in general, when someone just has an ass, you are going to, I'm not excusing it, but what I am saying is that it makes it more difficult. Like even if she would have on jeans, even if it is like a just like a flowy type dress, right? Not tight, thong or not, when she walks, when she turns her back to the board, that ass is gonna wiggle. You see what I'm saying? So it's
No, I do. I
like
see what you're saying.
it's a lose-lose situation, especially whoever said it, like the higher up you go, it's gonna be overly sexualized. Once you get to middle school or high school, they honestly gonna prefer for her to wear the looser gown where the ass will jiggle versus that pencil skirt. Because it's going to be some visualization there. So it's kind of like a lose-lose situation. But overall, I do feel like the skirt with those heels was just entirely too much. Like I feel like if she would have had on some flats, it just would have made it a little bit better. And I also feel like, if you were going to slide that outfit in there, it probably shouldn't have been the first day of school.
But
That's
go ahead, Asia. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Asia.
No, I was gonna say, for me, I really have a big issue with the shoes. Really, like, I agree, it's the functionality. If something goes wrong, you are with children. Anything could go wrong. And those are the shoes you're rocking with. You must be a warrior. You have to be a warrior. Because that, first of all, that's crazy. And the way it's tied up, what happens if literally a string comes loose and now you're falling and tripping, gotten these little humans tripping all over you as well. Like for me, that's just not a good look. And I also think that people have to dress for their body shape and being aware of that, right? Like I think that there would have been nothing wrong and we wouldn't even be having this conversation if she had a cardigan on, if she like there anything. You know what I'm saying? She could have had a flowy shirt that was a little bit longer. Even if you like, there are ways to style the clothes that you already have, because it's not saying, because for some people that might say, well, what if that's all that she had in her closet? Cool, 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 cool. I know that there's a teacher that's older. You know how like those old church mothers used to be? That they put like the lap scarf on you or
Yep.
the or whipping out something. I know there's an older teacher there that could have supported her in that moment. You know what I mean? But I just think that she like for me, it was an easy fix. Change the shoes. You're working with children in a school, and also put on a cardigan. It's simple to me.
That cardigan, or that I saw somebody say jacket. That ain't gonna change nothing. You still gonna see it. I will say this to that point, Asia. I think somebody above her has to have the conversation because obviously it ain't been a problem. That couldn't have been the first time she dressed like that. So being in the school system and preferably another female leader, because that can get sticky too, should have gone ahead and had that conversation. If it's acceptable in that environment, after a while, I'm not saying she should have worn it, but like, I believe somebody shaped like that's gonna get sexualized regardless, to Princess's point. B, I think if she wore it, it has to be acceptable. She's done it before, or has it? Like, I don't think that don't seem like a first time outfit because a kid knew who she was. A kid decided to record her. Yeah, but the other, like, I got a question for you, ladies. That's your kid teacher, parent teacher conference pull up. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, the dad and him, y'all go into it. Can he come to any more parent teacher conferences? Can he?
I mean, you think the women at work might not be dressed like that too?
Nah, they're not dressed like that.
No.
It's unprofessional.
Okay.
It's unprofessional.
It is, but people do unprofessional things in professional environments every day.
Brittany, Asia, can he come back?
I just
Yeah.
feel like, yeah, like I'm not about to, like his responsibilities as a father. And let's say I can't be at a particular, event, or this is something that we do together, like as a team. He will be there. Like the way that she dresses or whatever I don't believe that should have too much ground, to be honest, on his role as a father, because it's actually not about her. It's about the child, and it's about me and him being on the same page and as a team. And if that's something that we have been doing together, a pencil skirt is not about to threaten that.
Yeah.
Not what we got going on at home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna pour some insecurities out over there for what? I'm very secure in my relationship. I'm secure in my parenting. We're here for one reason and one reason only. You got eyes. I expect you to look as a man. You have eyes. I have eyes. I might point it out and tell you, "Hey, babe, look at it. You see that over there?" That's just a natural thing. I don't think it should stop you from visiting the classroom. Like, that's on you if you decide to act stupid.
All right. Okay. Any last thoughts on her Hemp? You got anything last thought on her dress, on her outfit, or are you good?
Yeah, no, I understand the confidence thing, right? But trust but verify, goddamn it. You got to mitigate. So if I don't need to keep running up to the school if she looking like $1 million, feel me? Mm-hmm. So I say, babe, you go to the school, right? Mm-hmm. Motherfuckers never, I don't think people be planning on cheating all the time. Shit be happening though, right? Sure. So I believe in mitigating for sure, right? Take your $6 ass up there. Don't put me in that situation. Now we go together, cool, right? Because that was your premise, man. When you presented it, I bet, yeah. But if somebody gotta go, you go, right? Just like when I just believe men deal with men, women deal with women. That makes everything clean.
I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? Because the gym teacher walking around with gray sweatpants, my wife don't need to be running up there every time something go wrong. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
So I got a question. Mm-hmm. What's the difference between setting a boundary and operating in insecurity? Because I heard Brittany say, like, I'm not insecure. They keep coming. And then I heard you say, like, nah, women handle women, men handle men. Cheating happens sometimes. We're not going to put ourselves in a situation. Where the line get drawn between insecurity and boundary?
Oh, I don't even play that. I don't even entertain that, right? That people will say, "Oh, you insecure," as they will try to weaponize it against you, right? Because the people want to deem boundaries subjective, right? So I may say X, and people will say that's insecure, right? But you may hear it as a boundary, and so since people make people's boundaries subjective, That boundary applies to that person in their relationship. So I don't even entertain that insecure shit. That's for the outside world to gossip about. You know, because it's my relationship. If it ends, then what?
For sure. Okay, that's
You
fair. Any last thoughts on that, y'all? All right, let's get into the next one.
Pick. I don't know how you have a good marriage if you make a bad pick.
Here we
The
go.
picks
with that
matter.
stuff. Yeah.
The picks matter, man.
Yeah.
The picks matter. And so I'm not saying like pick in terms of when I say good or bad, I'm not making a judgment on the person.
Yeah.
Saying a person's good or bad.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of good or bad. It's good or bad for me.
Yeah.
Good or bad for me. So like you know, when people say vows, they say for better or worse.
Yeah.
You know, and I think when people say for better or worse, what they're really thinking about is the worst. They're really saying, if it all fall apart, will I be cool with this person? I think that's important. But then what if it don't all fall apart?
Yeah.
What if your life blow up? What if you have more money than you ever had?
Yeah.
What if you have more opportunities than you ever had?
Yeah.
What if you have access to more choices and more options than you've ever had?
Yeah.
Are you still good with what you pick? I think that's where a lot of people get in that's where a lot of people get in trouble, right?
Yeah.
When they think better or worse, they just think, okay, if I'm with this person and the bottom fall out, are they going to ride with me? I think that's important.
Yeah.
On the flip side is if I got all the options in the world of anybody that I want,
Yeah.
or I have more money than I ever imagined, am I still going to be good with what I got?
Boy, look at here. Boy, look at here. Look at here.
So good.
I'm gonna jump off the ledge, man. I think we talked about this in Last Name Loyalty the other week. Man, who you pick is the most important thing than any of the other stuff. I will say this: 85% of stuff that happens in marriage, you don't know until you get into it. Like you can't really anticipate how you gonna handle something unless you start getting the money, unless those things start coming. You're not gonna know the side of that person before that. Now, morals, values, how they move, all that, you may know that, but I'm specifically talking about that money. That changes a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. You would not know until it gets there, because the other side of that is a lot of people may not be doing what they would have if they was in a different environment. They doing it with the current environment that was presented. So I do agree that it does matter, but you wouldn't know as far as when it blows up until it happens. I don't think you can see that when you get with somebody, unless you've been with them married for a long time and then it blows up. But if you get married 1 year, and then it blow up, I don't think you will know what that person is like fully in context of marriage. That's my thought.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think a lot of things, you know, like familiarity, to your point, Mims, breeds contempt. You guys ever heard that old cliche, right? That old adage. Even when I signed the documentation, regardless of my belief system, it impacted me, right? And then when you start setting precedents and expectations that aren't agreed upon, right? You're like, well, you should be doing this because you're a wife and a husband and etc., right? And things get a little, right? It's like a roller coaster, you know? I think the person you pick, yeah, you want to pick, right? But like you said, when the bullets start flying, Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan till they get hit, you know? And I don't think money changes people. It highlights what you are, whether it be good or bad, you know? And I think till death do is the place that we got to lean on when it gets rocky.
So I'm going to challenge that, bro. If you, why, okay, I get, you know, money says they amplify things, right?
Sure.
But if you get into an environment in which you never had access to, and the money gave you access, you may not have been that person. You just got something you never had before, so a different behavior comes up. I think that can happen. I think you can change with money. I don't think it's all rooted in who you are. It just only amplifies who you are. I think there's situations where people were one person, they gain access to different things, and it changes how they move. But they would, but the access. So the money gave them the access. The access to the thing is what flips it to another level. Because now I can operate over there when I want. I never knew I could even operate over there before. So I ain't talking about money, spending money, gifts. I'm not talking about that. But these spaces I can get in and what I got access to, I never knew I even had access to it. But because of this thing, now I'm there. So I don't think it always amplifies who a person is. I think different spaces bring out different sides of people.
So I guess I would ask, what is the behavior in said spaces? right? Because then we would have to make sure that we haven't seen similar or the same behavior previously. And I think oftentimes when we get with the wrong person in the wrong relationship, we're turning red flags into yellow flags, right?
Okay.
Red flags into green flags because we like the person, whether it be how they look or the pros outweigh the cons, right? And so the cons get put on the back burner. So I would ask, when they get in new space, what is the behavior change that is emphatic so then I would agree with you.
I'm gonna give you a positive one that will still, I think, will provoke a lot.
Sure.
Say if your money comes up and your time frees up as a result of you making a come up, you're able to take care of things in a certain way.
Uh-huh.
You now are able to fully pursue anything you want. And before, when you was at your job, you might not like it as much. You going to work, coming home in a bad mood. You now have the ability and access to go after whatever you want, when you want, how you want. You're not doing nothing bad, but you working your ass off all the time. So that doesn't mean that the money changed the person. I now have access to my time. So now I can spend my time how I always wanted to and still take care of the responsibility. That could still impact the marriage negatively if that person wasn't ready for that. So that's an example of how the money gave me something that I didn't have, which was my time. I get my time back. I'm still taking care of my responsibilities. Now I can bang and move how I want, when I want, and things of that nature. So if I gave you that example, what would you say?
Okay, now when that person gets that time, it sounds like they're doing something with it productive.
Uh-huh.
Or are they just hanging out?
Let's go both ways.
Well, so I think it's actually one way, right? So that person, like you said, they work hard, they work long. Now they got their time back. Now they use that time and reallocated it to something productive. That's still the same person. That's still the same driven person that works hard.
Okay.
Now they got time to do what they want and be productive doing what they want. So that's the same person. You're not going to find a person who's complacent, then becomes driven because they got bread. They're going to do more complacent shit. They're going to have 10 video games instead of one. I like playing video games, but just no shot to people who play video games. But you know what I mean?
Ain't nothing wrong with that, bro. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
It's an amplifier. No, it is an amplifier. I think people have the right to evolve and change. Money gives you exposure, right, to things that you may be perhaps curious about. But I think that going back to the statement, when it comes to marriage, for better or worse, it's funny. I had this conversation with my wife last week, and I was telling her, I said, when we got married, I didn't realize I was marrying you now. Right. We got married and I knew you then 14 years ago, but I also married this woman that I'm with now, and vice versa. And, I think that in my experience, what has helped us is that I was very clear about what my ambitions were. Right. And she believed me. You know what I mean? So when those things, or as things began to evolve for us, it didn't come as no surprise, because that's who I was. Even though I didn't have the thing or had wasn't in the position, she knew that's where we were headed, or whether that's where my mentality was, that's where I was headed. So as these things began to come and as things begin to evolve, it came at no surprise. So I think that if people are, one, I don't think you should get married if you don't have any direction about what you want to do in life, or who you are, if you haven't defined yourself. And I think that's where kind of those surprises come up, right? When they get highlighted, when negative things come up. Because I think the same way money amplifies you, I think stress and trauma amplifies you too. It's just the things that you don't want to expose, right? The things that maybe are suppressed. So I think it works both ways. But I think you have to really define who you are before you make such a commitment, because you're going to get exposed to both, right? In a marriage. So I think those are the ways that we can kind of protect ourselves from, or give ourselves an opportunity to understand what our better and what our worst could potentially look like. Getting and ensuring that person knows who they are. You can see them for who they are, and you're willing to accept them at either of those extremes.
I love what you just. Oh, go ahead.
No. Go over.
I was gonna say, Lewis, I love what you just said about trauma heightens it too. I feel very strongly about seeing someone in seasons. And I personally feel like you need to see people when they're happy. You need to see people when they're sad. You need to see people when they're angry. So you
Yep.
can see like what are those characteristics? What do those emotions bring out of people? I feel like that's so important for you to see because oftentimes, if people just going through a relationship and it's just the honeymoon phase and we've never gotten into an argument, you think everything is perfect. But the very first time you see that person angry, and they walking around punching the wall, like, you know what I'm saying, like, and you like, whoa, where did that come from? So I just think that's so important. And then I also just wanted to ask everyone, do you think that in relationships, like what he said in the video, that we truly do only focus on like the vows for worse and we really don't think about the better and what could happen with the better? You feel like people go into marriages not really thinking about that for real?
Man.
Mm,
I,
not,
go ahead.
no, I don't think overwhelmingly, but I think he's just illustrating a point.
Mhm.
I think when they say better or worse, I think worse things pop in people's heads pretty quickly, right? You
Mhm.
ever notice how you got 30 good days with your wife, boyfriend,
Well,
girlfriend,
yeah,
and one bad day will mess up the whole 30,
man.
right? Those bad things seem to take precedence. So I think that's what comes to mind. So I understand why he said it as such. I think it's a good phraseology.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll damn sure say, Princess. I ain't gonna say it takes over. I think it goes back, and I ain't trying to overly use the T word trauma, but I think it goes back to like, what's your perspective before that? Are you optimistic in general? Do you see opportunities in things, or do you see the way things end? So I also think if you're like that as a person, you don't go into. I use myself. I say this all the time. Ignorance helped me get married. Like I
Yep.
didn't see all the other things and better for worse and oh my God. Yeah, I hear it. And it's not bad, but like I wasn't thinking like that. So the ignorance helped me make an optimistic decision and see things with optimism. Now, I think as I got older and as I grew into marriage, I can look back and say, oh, damn, now I'm glad I didn't know that at the beginning because I wouldn't have viewed it the same way, which wouldn't have got me here. So I think ignorance helps a lot sometimes. I think humans like want to know everything, but it ain't always good. You overload and you start picking information and processing stuff that you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So ignorance, in a sense, in certain situations, marriage specifically, it can help. And I
Yeah,
think it makes you look at it more optimistic when you're not like, damn, like then what if this person do this? What if this person does that? So, Princess, I would say if you were pessimistic, a pessimistic person, that's how you going. That's what you. That's the side you're gonna get from that comment. If you a person that's like, oh nah, let's go get it. How can I make the best? If you like that already, you can look at marriage like, oh no, we about to turn up. Let's do this. Let's do it. I got you. So I think the person matters a lot more than the actual saying, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was good. That was good, big boy. That was
Appreciate
good. I
appreciate.
actually concede what I
Mhm.
said to that. Yeah, and it helped me also rehear what Lou said. He married his wife at all stages, whether he knew the stage or not, right? Because that's the
Mhm.
commitment, right? That's the optimistic viewpoint. To your point, there's a term that we use a lot. It's called analysis by paralysis.
Paralysis. Yep.
Mhm.
You overanalyze, overassess, overplan. You got a
Mhm.
contingency for everything. You can't enjoy anything.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You know.
Mm.
So now I definitely concede and I side on what you said for sure.
To piggyback off
Yeah.
of everything, I 100% agree. I just think that too, oftentimes, we have traits, for lack of better words, that lie dormant within us, right? So
Mhm.
sometimes it's always good to keep an open mind in marriage too, because I heard Princess say seasons and anger and sadness and happiness. Sometimes we might have thought we've experienced anger, and then when you get married, anger may look totally different, right? Like you didn't even realize that you had that inside of you,
Mhm.
that person didn't realize that they had it, or even happiness or love. I was we My husband and I played a game the other day. Like it asked a question about love, loving. What does this define love? Like, is there somebody else that you loved as much? Whatever the question was, but it was about love and highlighting what love looked like. And it went on to say, like, for us, it set an example of, okay, this is the way that he defined love. Did you have these feelings, quote unquote, puppy love before or whatever? But what I'm trying to say is that, like, when you're in a marriage, you experience all these emotions, and again, because things lay dormant within us, they can be heightened to another level, or they can be decreased to another level that we're not yet ready for. So when I think of for better or worse, I have to be ready for any and everything. It don't necessarily mean you broke, you sick, you can't take care of yourself anymore, whatever. We're under the bridge, but it can also mean like the experiences that we go through together. I have to keep an open mind. You have to keep an open mind that we got to like ride this wave for real, and see what the outcome is. So I don't know. It just piggybacks off of everything that everybody has kind of highlighted already tonight.
Yeah, and for sure. Real quick, because I'm gonna say something else, Princess. I'm sorry to be long-winded. Just wanted to say, man, appreciate everybody tapping in, man. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe. Hope y'all enjoying the show, man. Appreciate y'all tapping in with us. And Princess, this is another thing I'll say that people don't do enough of. When you don't feel that way no more, say something. If you're not seeing things the way you once saw it, and I was optimistic, and now I'm being pessimistic, you gotta have that conversation on the front end. Like, hey, yo, when these type things happening, I'm not seeing that the same way I once was seeing it. And I don't know if it's me, you, the environment, what we going through, but like, do you feel the same way when we was here at one point aligned? Now we kind of here, like, hey, bro, I'm not seeing that the same. People don't have that conversation. They have it when it's here and it's almost over, versus having it when it's a little closer to like, oh, like, all right, we done made it, we done ran into this block twice in serious situations, and I'm not viewing that the same. What's happening right there? Because conversations save relationships if you have them early. Because if you don't, let me tell you, boys, it's a such thing as being too late. I don't care if you're married, engaged, prenup, no prenup, wait too late, it's a wrap. They gonna be going to that parent-teacher conference for another reason.
Something I just
Asia
wanted to
never
say
went. Okay.
real quick. I think thinking about really agreeing with what everybody is saying, right, in the core of it all. I also think that sometimes people have like I don't know, I guess like a core or foundational character. I think that there are certain things that are just who you are. If you are a person of integrity when you are broke, I really believe that you should also be a person of integrity when you are not broke, right? I also think that there are situational, like you have a situational characteristics. So, for example, when trauma happens, right? When you are faced with stressors, because keeping in mind our brains are meant for survival. So that is why a lot of times our brains are processing, okay, is this going to be a threat? That's why we don't think about the good days because there's no threat in that. But if we can say, if our brain's like, okay, you're about to go into a situation you've never been in before, you need to prep for this. What are the threats? How can you survive this moment? Right. So I do think that there needs to be flexibility in that. But I also think, to Princess's point, you have to see not just the person like in seasons and all this stuff, but I also think being able to like see them in environment. So, for example, I don't want to just see you angry and upset if we are in a relationship and you're upset with me. Mm-mm. I want to see how you are upset in public, how you are upset with the folks in your community, because you could be putting on a show for me, but you're not going to do that in front of your homeboys. You're not going to do that in front of like your family, right? And so there's certain things I think like being able to see the person and environment. I also think being able, yeah, to just like continue to have like flexibility, and Keena, to your point, like having those continued conversations, just because it is crucial. You are not going to be the same person. But I do like 10 years, 21 years in, but I do believe that your core character should be the same. So I want to see you when you don't have it, you know what I'm saying? And I also want to see you when it's your birthday and people are celebrating you. Like those are small examples that people will have over the course of their life so that I can see how you are in context.
Cut that up, sell it for $9.99.
Hey, and the
You
last
got
thing
into
I
that
say,
therapist bag. No, that was good.
you got some. You about to go, Lewis?
No, that was good.
The
No,
last
no,
thing
it
I
was
say
good.
before we transition to the next thing is I'm gonna talk about the other side. There are some instances where the person was right when you chose them, and they have changed, and it is time to move on. I don't want to play it like conversations fix everything all the time. So I think that the most important part is that people are in the ring together fighting for a common goal. Sometimes they was right when you got married. Things ain't panning out. Life is happening, different spaces, different places, different experiences. They not that person no more. And they not willing to do whatever it takes for y'all to realign. You got to know when to dip out on the other end. You know what I mean? I'm not an advocate for divorce. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is if it ain't serving you no more, if you're not in a place with a person that you can see the light at the end of the tunnel no more for an extended period of time, dip set. Get up out of there. Get up out of there. That's what I would say. Anybody got anything else on the good partner? The bad pick. Can you get married with a bad pick? All right, so let's get into the money bag real quick, man. So shared by one of ours truly. So this post went up on the neighborhood talk. They said y'all y'all can last 2 weeks with $1,000 after bills and groceries are paid for. So all your bills are paid, groceries are good. Can y'all last $1,000? Princess, I would like, if you don't mind, because I think your view online was very, real. Could you start with what you said back to people, and then we're gonna get into the conversation of how realistic it is?
So I posted this on my story, and my question back to people was, do y'all really think that people have $1,000 left over after paying all their bills? Starting there.
Do y'all think we in places in time where $1,000 is realistic after everything is paid, or people out here front? What y'all think?
I think the second check people have it. Like that first check you paying a mortgage or a rent, right? Mm-hmm. That check is spent, right? For the most part, just because most of us live in paycheck to paycheck, functionally.
Define that for me. Hey, let's define that real quick. When you say paycheck to paycheck, like I think a lot of people don't understand exactly what paycheck. So when you say it, after my joints is paid, how much would you say I got left over if I'm living paycheck to paycheck?
That first check, or are you saying just for the month?
Just in general, how much would be left?
I think disposable income people probably have $1,000. I'm talking about cumulatively for the month. So when they pay that first check, they probably got $300-$400. Then that next check, they probably got a little bit more, right? So I'm thinking people probably have $1,000, maybe a couple hundred in a bank somewhere, right? Maybe 200 in a shoebox, right? If they still got those old, so I'm thinking people probably got $1,000 left, and that's from both checks. And I'm just thinking people get paid every 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. For sure.
So yeah, probably $1,000 disposable after everything is paid for that month. For sure. I think that's paycheck to paycheck.
You think that's sustainable? To the question, you think having $1,000 afterwards is that decent? That's sustainable for you to live, Ari?
I'm trying to be objective. It's hard for me to see. I got 6 kids. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 sets of twins. 3, 3, 2, 2.
Oh, God bless you, brother. Salute to you, man.
I talk to him every day. I'm like, my G, you ain't had to do all that. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. You know? So, but I get to pick my favorite kid each day, which is pretty cool based on their behavior. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, like Rocky was my favorite today, but she fell off. She was number 3 yesterday. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
You got to perform. Fuck all that. But anyway, you know what I mean? But nah, so it for me, it's hard for me to see, Mims, because there's so much money just going in and out, right? They potty training, they got swimming, they just got so much stuff, right? They walk in here with ice cream. We do pizza on Saturdays. They always going somewhere. So it's very difficult for me to see how $1,000 could benefit. But as a single, men specifically, I think I have more of a lens to that. Okay. When we single, you got a futon, a PlayStation, a TV on the wall, right? Yeah. Nice clothes and good smelling cologne. We can make it, right? We don't have the stereotypically crazy spending habits. So I think we may be able to make it be more successful with that 1,000 than the ladies.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm sorry. Hey, Lou, I'm gonna throw it to you, bro. What you think, brother?
For 2 weeks,
yeah, Man, that's a fuck. Hey, that's a fuck no, man. Hold on.
If you have done, so y'all know my story, whatever, right? So I think because I've come from nothing, I can make that work. You know what I'm saying? So like, you just kind of learn how to adjust and pivot. Like, hey, it's gonna be sandwiches this day. It's gonna be this. So I think you have to adjust your lifestyle. But when you introduce kids, or when you introduce kids into a situation when it comes to money, there's so many unpredictable things that come up, right? That just you could have a budget for this, and then it's just completely destroyed it. To my dog's point there, like when it's just you, absolutely. There have been times I made $20 last 5 days before. You know what I'm saying? As a single person. So, but when you have a family or you're introducing children, it's very difficult. Very difficult. I mean, lunch is $2.20. Breakfast is $1.50. Like that's crazy. You got 2 kids, you got 6 kids. I mean, that's a crazy budget. For the week. So I think I still think it's possible even with that, but you really you gotta plan. I think when it comes to money, you can make a lot of things work more than you think if you plan. So I think it's possible. To definitively answer the question, I think it is.
I don't think that many people got that much, bro. Like I'm not. It's not a knock. It's not a knock. Please let me say it's not a knock. I think $1,000 left over every 2 weeks isn't it. I'm not gonna call it insane, and I'm not trying to generalize anything. I don't think that's norm though, and I'm not saying some people don't experience that, but I don't think that's norm. I think us specific millennials think we got it going on a lot more than what we may have. And I'm gonna be real with the times, it's different now too. 1,000 used to stretch a way different way 4 years ago than it does right now.
Yep.
I think the thing is like, I think we're not good at being minimalist now. Like once we tasted it, we're not minimalist anymore. So it's harder to go back to that lifestyle once you taste what it's like not to have to do that. You know what I mean? And also, I feel like we would, instead of doing less, we would kill ourselves to work more and just make more so they could do everything you want to. Yeah. Instead of like, you know what, let me cool out. We'll probably work more just to do more and have the same 300 left over because we don't want to let go of what we're doing. So I do think that's a bad practice, but I think typically that's how we are because, that's my thought. But like, yeah, I think 1,000 is a stretch to have left over, especially every 2 weeks. A month, I get it. But like every 2 weeks, bro, like, and again, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not speaking for anybody, but I think that's not a big percentage of America. I will say that.
Yeah.
That's after everything. That's after you eating gas and everything.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Princess.
Oh. No, I was just gonna say the question said that all the bills were paid and groceries. So you got stuff to cook.
Oh.
Essentially.
It makes it better, a little better.
Oh, that's good. So, you're doing good.
Man, if you already got groceries, that's big.
That's really good.
So that's why my question back was, do you really feel like people have $1,000 after bills are paid and groceries? Personally, I agree with you, Keenan. I don't think that the average American has $1,000 left over. And then also, I feel like you should be able to make that last, especially now. I know, like you know, the amount of kids and all that, like that's going to vary. But an individual, let's just say, even if you had $300 left over for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If all your bills are paid and you have groceries, you need to fill your tank up and eat them groceries in the house, and you need to eat fast food. I done did it before and it works.
Yep.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like you can survive off of $300. You can survive off of $200 for 2 weeks until the next paycheck, if that's what you got to do. But it's just people want to continue living a lifestyle or pride, or I can't not go get my hair done, or I can't not do this. But it's like, you need to take care of what you need to take care of. Your bills are paid, you got groceries, and
that date starting to make sense now.
Oh, you stupid.
The what?
That date starting to make sense now, ain't it? That $100. See what I'm saying? Yep, got y'all right in the trap. You see what I'm saying?
She ain't paying for it.
Hold on. We just said most Americans don't have we have about $200 to $300 left over. So my man, out of that 200-300, if he putting 100 on you, you better respect that man, dog.
Man, talk your shit.
I ain't say nothing was wrong with a $100 date.
She didn't.
Hey, Princess,
I did
Hey, it
not
don't
say anything
matter.
was wrong with a
She didn't.
$100 date. All I said was if you take me to State 48, that doesn't mean that I owe you some afterwards. That's what I said.
would you respect him more that he put more of what he had left on you, or it don't matter?
Not if you struggling. You don't need to be struggling to try to
Impress.
impress me for real.
Come on, man.
At that point,
No,
you're not
I'm
financially
being
responsible.
Y'all, but you
You're
don't
not
know
financially
that. You don't
responsible.
know that. You don't know that yet, though. I get what y'all saying. If you know, you don't know that.
No, but I'm
So then
saying
how could I have a
let's just
feeling
say
about
it.
Yeah, I was about to say, how can you determine the value of it if you don't know the circumstance?
Yeah,
The-
I would only know that if it ended up being long term. Like long term, if I found out that you led on the first date with State 48, but you only had $50, you ain't need to do all that for me because we could have went to Longhorn. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the point that I'm making. If I find that out, if we make it that far, you didn't have to lead with that.
Nah,
I
see,
think.
man, if you don't mind,
Yeah,
right?
go ahead. Go
See,
ahead.
I like the walk down. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing: if we assume that the majority of Americans don't have $1,000, why are you going on a Steak 48 date in the first place? Right? The assumption is that people probably living pretty tight, but I never seen a woman turn down no Steak 48 either, knowing the facts that we know.
Because I can't speak for him in his situation. Like he might be somebody that has $1,000 left over. I could say what the majority of America may or may not have, but
Mhm.
I'm not here. If you want to take me to Stake 48, I'm not here to say like, dang, did you have at least $1,000 left over? Because I don't think this is a good idea financially. As a man, you should be able to make that decision before you ask me on that date.
Okay.
And I'll even say it to this too, because and even in the conversation we were having before, if you as the man you want to take lead, you know in your financial situation, and you are the one that's picking the restaurant and what I'm eating, I feel like you should also be very aware of your financial means. And so at that point, yeah, I am then going to take what it is that you're offering. And if it is this type of restaurant versus this type of restaurant, I don't think that's up to me to then say if I'm trying to be like, okay, you know what, like he's a leader, he's got this. And then my first thing is I can't order my food, but I can tell you what your wallet's looking like. I feel like that would be
Oh,
insulting. You know
I
what I mean?
agree. But I don't think y'all brothers correct me if I'm wrong, or I don't think most men are coming out the gate like that. Even Lou was saying, hey, kind of negotiate to see where we at and then earn the leadership or the respect, whatever the case is. So a lot of times people are coming kind of on an equal playing field. So I 100% agree with you, Asia, if he coming out the gate like I am, right? Because that's the precedent that I want to set from jump. But if most people are negotiating the feng shui of that relationship, that's when I'm thinking women who are cognizant and edified on the state of the economy and such would say, Steak 48 for what? They got the 2 for 10. You could make it even an easy thing, a palatable thing. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. But yeah, if he coming like me, I agree with you for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Princess, I'll say this, and I'll put some money on this right here.
Uh-oh, somebody got 1,000.
Hey, come on, man. Chill out, man. What you doing, man? Chill out. Chill out. But what I'm saying is, okay, no, he wouldn't lead with this is how much I got, how much I'm spending. But if he did those things and got to the point where he could share it and y'all got locked in, I don't think you're now going to look at him like he's financially irresponsible if it worked and he won you over. That's the point I'm trying to make. If I started like that and I took some risk with my own money to impress you, we get to the point where we comfortable and I'm like, yo, you wouldn't believe what was in my account when I was doing that. You're not going to deem me financially irresponsible now. Granted, I waited until I had it because I think that's what a smart man would do. But like, I don't think that judgment point is going to come because the goal was to get you. Because this is the thing, the date ain't nothing but a little interview anyway. So I did that to get your attention to be able to go ahead and rap with you about who I really am.
You know what that is, though, Keenan? That's not
Go
a
ahead.
financially irresponsible thing. That is an investment, my brother.
Touche, my boy.
Yeah,
Touche, my
That's
boy.
what that is. That's what that is called, as an investment. That paid off. Hey, to the point, whether you got it or not, and I mean this. I know people have said it. Like, it don't matter how much money you make, right? It's people that make hundreds of thousands of dollars each year that don't have $1,000 in between checks. Like, that's a real thing. So it ain't even about how much money you bring in. Like, it's really about how much you keep. So, status and all that, people make tons of money and still don't have that much. So if you got $100 or $200 or $300 after you got everything paid, you doing better than most people too, at any level.
And I also want to say something, Princess, when you brought up like eating like fast food and stuff, like with like budgeting, like trying to save and stuff too. I think one of the misconceptions, and not that you said this, but it's just make me think about it, is that you have to eat that way, right? Like I think that people don't realize how having still like a whole food diet can be when you are not also trying to pair that with going out to eat, right? So it's like, yes, like you can definitely, like an individual could get, let's say, like eggs and also fresh fruit. Specifically, like if you're getting like frozen fruit, right? Like go ahead and make you like a really nutritious smoothie with some fruit and some greens in there, you know what I mean? Like, and then having two boiled eggs if you need to. You know what I'm saying? Like those of us like, and I think I've talked about this, like my dad, like it was very interesting growing up. My dad came from not a whole lot, and my mother grew up middle class. And so like with my dad, it was like, cool, okay, cool. Breakfast, we got some sardines and grits and some fruit and some grapes. Grapes and fruit. It's like, cool. And now people are like, oh, sardines with the omega-3s and all these different things, right? And so I think that there still is a way, like you can still have a very balanced life while navigating the funds that you do have, while being able to like, to kind of like live day to day.
But I am going to go on a limb and say, fellas, you do got to impress her that first date. I ain't saying spend all your bread, but if you go out there being too honest, you just lost, my boy.
But that goes back to my point about the expectation, though. Because if you're going to do something to impress, just know that you planted that seed.
But I didn't say spend a lot, but you do have to impress them. There's a
Right.
difference.
I'm not
make an
talking about
impression for
spending
sure.
either. I'm not talking about how much money you spend either. I'm talking about down to the restaurant, down to the conversation, down to the experience, whatever it is. Just understand that the first date, right? If you're trying to impress me, then the next thing, there's an expectation that comes after that. Because Keenan, what I heard you say is, you do whatever it is. It's an investment. You do whatever it is, and then when you get comfortable, then you let them know, like, yo, I really was down in the dirt trying to get to where we're going. But the point is that you kept up with whatever it was to get to that point. That's what I'm saying. Don't
Yeah.
shoot a three and then try and you're not gonna take a couple steps back after that, because then that's when, to Princess's point, that's when I find you out, like, you really on the struggle bus. Why did you have to do all that? Why didn't you just come with whatever you had from the beginning, and then we would have decided from there? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
they never dated women before, I don't think.
No, they haven't. I hear you, but I think that works the adverse way too. I think if you meet somebody not in a dating scene, in a very day-to-day setting, it's easier to grow to do things that way than it is to meet you in a social setting and then try to set a precedence after that. If I meet you in a grocery store, if I meet you somewhere very general, a day-to-day thing, and I kind of spark your interest initially already, it's a lot easier to build up than it is to set a high expectation and worry about coming down. That's the only point I'm making, because, hey man, do not lead with too much honesty, fellas. I'm telling you right now, don't do that. I'm not saying lie, but like, don't say too much because you don't know their judgment point. That's all I'm saying. Because how you met me and where we cross paths has mattered. Because you can meet somebody, put the number in the phone, and y'all don't talk 2-3 months because it wasn't nothing like that. A slow a slow build of conversation. Like, damn, I'm interested. Like, we talk a lot. Let's go grab a coffee real quick. That's going to turn out way different if I met you somewhere I was already spending money. That's the only point I'm making. I think that is going to be the change.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That don't lie, but tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? Me. But
He said, "Don't lie, but don't tell the truth."
yeah. Oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta say it all. Hey, look, what you got to look in the face and say, look, I won't lie to you, but I damn sure won't say nothing. It's a difference, man. It's a difference. All right. Anybody got any last thoughts on that before we get into this topic of the night? And then we got one fair foul. Let's get into it. All right, man. So I know we talked a lot about relationships, marriages, things of that nature. Only got one question tonight, and everybody got to pick, and we can explain and go from there. Which is hardest to do? To love somebody, to trust somebody, to apologize, or to move on? Which do y'all feel like is the hardest to do?
Trust.
Yeah.
Damn. So y'all will love somebody before you trust them?
Easy to love, dog.
Yeah.
Ladies, before we get into it, ladies, what y'all got? Apologize. I got y'all.
Oh, God. Accountability.
I just want to say that's wild and that's unfair. We didn't do that to y'all. We didn't do that to y'all.
I'm sorry, Asia.
I take accountability for that. I shouldn't have did that.
What is it for you, Asia? I'm sorry.
I don't know. This is hard. I'm stuck between trust and moving on, but I actually think I think it can be hardest to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
That's my answer.
Move on.
Moving on.
Brittany? Apologize. I know we can say that.
I'll say trust. My husband would say apologize.
So we're gonna believe him. I'm gonna say this. I think the thing about trust, even though I gave it a hard time, I am gonna say trust. I feel like once you love somebody, you can fall out of love and all that, but you still love that person. Trust is like the only ongoing thing you gotta constantly work on day in and day out to like obtain. Like once you usually typically love somebody, I'm like, oh no, I don't love you no more in the adult world. But trust is like anything any day could kind of turn that sideways. I think, and it's like I think trust in different places. Like the way I could trust my friends is far different than when you talking about trusting somebody with your livelihood, your finances, your vulnerability, telling them the things your traumas. It's that type of trust that's like you only got one chance. That's why I be telling people like, bro, don't say nothing you can't come back from. You know what I mean? So I think trust is hard because it's completely ongoing. But let me ask y'all this. How come most people, let me not say everybody, how come 98% of people have an issue with trust? Like, why does everybody have why does most people have a problem with trust? I think that's amazing. Like, you come across a whole bunch of different types of people, all this, but everybody always goes back to how trust is the hardest part. Why do y'all think that is?
Yeah, I think it's projection.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are so selfish, self-absorbed, self-centered, right? Who are you willing to put in that spot, right? To where you can be that vulnerable, that transparent, and oftentimes the people that are closest to you do you the most wrong, right? And then that gives you that PTSD where moving forward, you are very apprehensive to trust anybody, So I think that, we'll have a traumatizing experience, and then we know ourselves, right? We know our capabilities, right? And so it's hard to put anything past anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's just how trust kind of boils down. Not to mention it's exacerbated by every single movie, right? He killed G Money on the roof, right? That's his man.
Yeah,
I was literally thinking about that, yo. No lie.
I know you was. I seen it in your eyes. That's why I said it first.
So I got a question, bro. So if you are projecting, does that mean somewhere down the line, you have some untrustworthy moments? If you use projection as a standpoint, wouldn't you project from a place where you may feel like there's moments where you couldn't be trusted? Is that not where the projection come from, though?
Mm-hmm.
Are you asking me?
I'm
Oh,
asking. I'm not asking him because he said it.
yeah, I think it's either actual actions, experience, or even
Mhm.
capability.
Yep.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, because Maslow's hierarchy, right? Self-preservation
Mm-hmm.
is like number one. You know,
So I got to agree with that.
gratification is high too, and so people do what's best for themselves at the end of the day. And
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
so that's the human nature that
Mm-hmm.
is the projected part.
My
Okay.
dog, deepest psychology,
Yeah. Yeah.
Maslow. So I agree with that because the projection that I say that leads me to say trust is the value of which I hold myself and the things that are valuable to me. I know you don't value them as much as I do.
Mm-hmm.
So what it takes for me to be vulnerable in this sense, right? I know you don't value it the same. So for me to trust you, I'm then creating a certain level of vulnerability that I may be uncomfortable with that you don't really see as valuable. And you could breach my trust inadvertently,
Mm-hmm.
right? Without bad intention, right? Not
Yeah,
intentionally doing it and not really understanding the level of which you've breached trust. I mean, trust is so delicate because it is formed over time. And to Keenan's point, it can be demolished with not a lot of pressure, right? It's just one of those things that is extremely delicate and valuable that could be penetrated with very little effort, and it could cause irreparable damage.
yeah,
I would
yeah,
also say that I feel like with trust, I feel like with some of the other ones you can like fake it. I don't feel like you can fake trust though, right? And like loyalty and those types of things. And that's even talking about like vulnerability. I think because the consequence of let's say like the betrayal, um, and someone kind of like, like breaking that trust down, I think there's also this feeling of like helplessness. So it's like for some of us, it's like, okay, cool, I can like work toward, like rebuilding love for myself, right? Or I can work to reframe love in some ways. Apology, I can say it, I might not mean it. You know what I mean? Like I give you what you need, but I think when it comes to trust, and Lewis, the word that you use, like it being just so delicate and I think precious. I think there's a vulnerability to it that I also think it's like this universal thing. When we think about like love, we kind of define it differently, right? Especially between, let's say, like even with like men and women. But I think when we think about trust, it feels very concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Like do not cross me, right? Like I am trusting you with whatever it is. The thing could be different, but I think so for that, I think it's a universal sort of thing that we kind of can all understand. And so when that betrayal is there, it's a really, really deep wound, and it's a vulnerability that we share, I think, as humans. And I think that's unique in and of itself.
I'll add on to you, Asia. Two words as you were talking, two words that came to mind is like mutual respect, right? Like that's what defines trust to me. If you don't have mutual respect for somebody, then you can't build anything, really. So once that threshold is crossed, with disrespect, and then betrayal comes, and then you're disloyal and all these other things, it, to all of y'all's point, it shatters like glass. Trust is like glass, and then you spend so much time trying to build back, but you have to have that mutual respect between two people in order to even build the foundation back. So what are we really doing? So I think, Keenan, to your question, the reason why people have, they feel like it's trust is such the hardest thing is because it's the easiest thing to shatter, but the hardest thing to build back. Like that's just the reality of what it is.
That's true.
For sure. Princess, we heard you say move on. Why do you feel like moving on is the hardest thing to do out of those four that was given?
Um, just because if you mean a lot to me, Britt, you just said respect. It's not hard for me to trust you.
Mm-hmm.
It's the if you break the trust, the building it back. So for me, gaining my trust is a lot easier than trying to build it back after it's broken. Um, and then the other one was a love. Like to me, I feel like probably out of all of them, love is the easiest. Um, just operating out of love just in general. So I feel like love is the easiest. I feel like trust is, pretty easy too, for the reasons that I just explained. But
Mhm.
then the apology and then the moving on. Although y'all said, you know, what you said about accountability in women, I think everyone has difficulty apologizing at times, especially when it's genuine. I think
Mhm.
it's easy to give a BS apology, but when
Mhm.
you really, like, deep in your heart agree that you're wrong, even though somebody else might feel some type of way, sometimes you'll give an apology even though you like, all right, I'm just gonna give it to you. But I feel like apologizing when you know that it's you that is truly wrong, that's not hard for me. But moving on and the
No.
familiar,
Are you saying you rarely? I'm asking a question, Princess. Are you saying you rarely feel like it's you? Is why you may not apologize is at the frequency in which you receive them?
no, that's not what
Oh,
I'm
okay.
saying.
I was just making sure. Okay.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Uh,
Um, and then the moving on, like I just feel like it's difficult to move on from a situation for multiple reasons. Like for you just being familiar because you love the person and you don't want to let go. Like you think about people who stay in relationships that are toxic, they're abusive. It's hard whenever you love somebody, or that's just like where you're complacent at. That's what you're familiar with, even if things are bad. Like I feel like it's extremely hard for people to truly let go and move on. Not just like take a break and come back, like truly separate and move on. I think that that is the hardest thing to do, especially when you love someone.
salute, and I agree. Moving on, it's difficult. I will say this. I think if we did a number two, apologizing will be second on all y'all lists and last on ours. I would say that, and I'm gonna tell you why. I think y'all, as in, I'm being honest, ladies. You know, I rock with y'all, but I think the point I'm trying to make is like universally, I think a guy will be able to see the goal quicker, and if there's something that we have offended you on, we will apologize. Even because I'm gonna be real, apologizing is not if I truly felt wrong. That's not what apologizing is about. It's not. I could do something that didn't have it had an impact that I didn't intend for it to have, and I can apologize. So I'm not taking away from if I felt wrong, but if I see it affect you, I need to address it in an apologetic way. I think that's where
Mhm.
the issue with apologizing between men and women come into play. It's no belittling of you to acknowledge that something you did may have offended me. And it's not about you feeling right or wrong. Because I think people think that's what apologizing is about. And it's not.
Mhm.
Are you
And I
speaking
and I
as
think that's what
are you speaking as a married man? Just wondering, like, do you think that it's the same way for married men and single men?
about apologizing.
Hmm.
I think that definition is applicable. I feel like a lot of single guys may not apologize because they don't feel wrong. I'm not tied to you. You know what I mean? So I don't have to, I don't have, they may feel that way. Like
And
I
no
don't have to,
obligation.
yeah, no obligation to offend you. Oh, you offended? Oh well, move on. You get what I'm saying? I think me now, I realize the power in the apology. I'm gonna be honest, a lot of people may not like this, but like it's typically not for the person apologizing. Like
Hmm.
apologies aren't really for the person who's saying it. It's because I did something to you and I'm acknowledging it. I think that's why accountability in women, I'm being honest, gets tied in so much because the apology, the correct apology with an explanation is acknowledging what happened, what you did that made somebody feel saying, wait. Now, I'm not saying you all specifically, but that conversation comes up enough to know that there's a disconnect there.
I I hear you.
Uh-oh.
I also
Uh,
think that there is a difference between the rate, because you're talking about like not just the definition part, but the percentage, right? Or how like for women it would be lower on the list, right, than men. I'm saying I really do think that there's a difference in the rate at which married men apologize and single men apologize. I don't think that they are the same.
No, I
And I
agree.
think
I
it's
think
for I think it's for some of the reasons that y'all are talking about. I think like even I've heard y'all say as married men, like, sometimes like you just gotta apologize, to your wife, even if You don't necessarily agree, even if, and that's to keep peace in the home, right? And I think it's because you honor your wife in some ways in her experience or how she's impacted by it. I do not think that all single men have that same kind of like compass and North Star for some of the reasons that y'all said. So I don't think it's the same rate, is what I'm saying.
If he like you, he do. If he like you, he do.
I think presence plays a factor, right? Because when you're single, let's say you're not around that person, you don't see the effect and the impact of what circumstances, occurred to then lead to that person's well-being and emotional well-being. So you don't really see it and you don't get those senses. So you don't understand, how necessary it is for you to do the work and understand where you may have erred. You know what I'm saying? So I think proximity may have a factor in how people react or willing to apologize. Because they don't physically see the impact that their actions may have on someone. Um,
Yeah.
and then the obligation element of it too. I think that's true. I think the obligation when I'm married, I have an obligation to work this out because we're one. So what's affecting you is affecting me. If we are just dating, right, in that sense, and we're not committed, then my obligation is a little bit different at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the word investment comes to mind, right? So you can be single, dating someone, right? Courting, and in which case you're invested, right? So you have the need for accountability, right? You see where you're wrong, therefore you apologize. It does seem very difficult for women to get to that point. When I'm having a conversation with my wife that'll turn into a discourse and then an argument, is because she doesn't see where she's wrong and therefore sees no need for accountability and then therefore doesn't apologize. But my premise is if Asia and I get in a discourse right now and we circle back, there's something that each one of us could apologize for. I'm not responsible for all of it, but the part of which I'm responsible, I can apologize. But that seems to be a hard target for ladies for some reason.
Hmm.
You know?
Is that right?
Yeah. Some thoughts on that.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say a statement.
For sure.
I think it's because sometimes
Mm.
um I do think that sometimes, and I am going to generalize for a second. I do think there are some experiences where men, not all men, I don't have a percentage of it, but where men give empty, um, I don't want to say empty accountability, but I think there's a difference. Like, I think you can take accountability for what you've done, and there is no change of action, right? So you can say, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. And then the next time it's the same thing. Um, and so I think I have seen and noticed that that is a pattern. So men, I can agree that I think, yeah, men might be able to say the thing. I don't know that it always equates to a change of action. I do think that at times for women, when they do apologize, there is usually it leans into there's also a change of behavior because it's like, okay, let me actually try to like work on that. Not saying that it doesn't happen with men. I'm just saying I think that sometimes, yes, the apologies might come like quicker or whatever the case may be, but I don't know if the action does, the change of
Yeah.
action does at the same
Yeah.
rate.
So I think a real accountability is change behavior, right? But
Hmm.
apology is what's under scrutiny. And I know one thing: the first rule of AA is you got to admit you got a problem. So if y'all can't even get to the point where I'm sorry, babe, we ain't gonna get to the change behavior because you can't even see what you did wrong in the first place. You know what I mean? So we got to take it step by step. You know. So that's my retort, but I catch your drift in terms of accountability for sure.
Yeah, and I think it just plays into having effective communication too, right? Because
Mhm.
I can say that like maybe for most women it needs to be pointed out, right? Like maybe I don't know, there's a lack of communication in terms of explanations, what we're talking about. Get to the point. What are you trying to say? What did I do wrong? Whatever. And then depending on your maturity level, where y'all stand, how y'all operate, right? You can then have that conversation and actually take a look at what accountability looks like because I think people too define that word in itself on their own terms, right? Like, I'm only going to hold weight over here. I'm only going to take accountability for this part. Yeah, I might have said that, but that's not what I meant. You didn't hear what I was saying. Did you hear what I was saying? And then boom, escalates, tones and deliveries start going left, and crossfire. So it just all circles back to effective communication with your partner. And then, of course, if apologies are warranted, I think then is when you should pull it out the bag and, okay, I understand where you're coming from. Did you actually hear me, or were you just listening? Or were you listening, or did you just hear me in this moment? Right? So we can then get to the apology at hand on both parties.
Mm, mm,
What,
mm,
Phoenix? All of y'all. What's the grunts for?
mm.
I hear what you're saying. Nah, like first, I'll say my thing. Warranted is insane. Like,
Ah,
is insane. The second
uh-huh.
part is like I don't think anybody will get to that level or marry that long with not being some type of effective communicator. But if you're going to make the standard for me apologizing, how much you understand how you bothered me, I don't think that's a road to success.
I didn't say it was about understanding, right? I said it's about effectively communicating what the issue at hand is. There's often time. There's been plenty of times
Hold
where
on,
if
Brittany.
I made
Hold on. May
go
I
ahead,
though?
go
May
ahead,
I?
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead,
Okay,
go
so
ahead.
what I'm saying is you said it's about effective communication, and then
Right.
you then said, okay, you talk about like you understand I express what it is, and then you'll deem if it warrants an apology.
That's not what I said. I
Okay.
didn't. I didn't. That's not
Refresh
what
my
I.
memory. I'm sorry.
That's not what I said. That's not what I meant. Are we listening? Are we hearing each other right now, Keenan?
Okay, go ahead.
I, what I said, the point that I was making was, if you
No,
have,
tell me what you said. Don't tell me the point you making. Tell
listen,
me what you
listen, if
said.
you stop interrupting me, you
Okay.
see, this is a perfect example. Y'all
Mm-hmm.
want to take what y'all hear out of a situation instead of just letting people get to their point, and then there's always a rebuttal. But then. Okay, but if we can effectively communicate, right? I can sit back and actively listen to what you're saying, and you can do the same. And then we can gather a solution of how we can make this better. And then apologies happen. That's my point. That's the
Okay,
point that I
so
was.
thank you, Brittany. So, other panelists, did I not say what she said the first time?
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to rewind the tape. I don't recall.
I bet you. Let me not be biased, ladies. Did I not recall what she said the first time?
If I'm being honest with you, Keenan,
Look at this accountability. All right, so
no,
look at
no,
this.
I'm being so serious. I tuned it out. Like once you interrupted her, I honestly forgot what she said for real. I'm being so serious because she was trying to clarify it, and after that, y'all started doing the back and forth, and I'm like, okay.
This is a perfect example of the
Listen,
issue.
perfect example. Perfect.
But here's the thing, right, B?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Like, and people do this, right? But this in accountability, this is what happens, I think, on women's side most. You judge yourself based on your intentions, but you
Yep.
judge him based on your action, based on his actions. And that's the crux of the issue. And what you articulated leaves too much subjectivity to this thing,
Hmm.
right? Apologies are much more absolute. We know what we be doing wrong, but then we try to justify it because of what we meant or what we wanted or what we intended to happen. But the truth is, what happened is hurt that other person, and therefore I say sorry.
Hmm.
Like, it seems that simple to me, but maybe I'm simplifying it too much.
What are you sorry for? Are you sorry for hurting them, or are you sorry for what you said or did?
Hmm.
Because I've apologized about hurting somebody, but I'm not sorry about what I did or what I said.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's different. It's different times. I've been in both scenarios. Like, yo, nah, I was out of pocket for that. And then because I've also done something that I thought that was right. And then came back and was like, yeah, nah, maybe I was tripping.
Right.
And apologize for what I did or said.
Right. Because I'm like, I think like I could have did that better. Like in the moment in time, that was a decision I made that I could have made better with the information that I had, or just the place that I was in. Right. So I could see how that could affect somebody, and even me, my judgment. Right. So I'm like, okay, I could execute that better, and I'll do that next time. Right. But, you know, at the time, that was the best decision I could have made in that moment.
So,
you get what I'm saying? So I'm not going to.
Okay,
I'm not going to apologize, because I'm going to acknowledge what I did. I'm going to apologize about how that made you feel, but then I'm going to take accountability and I'm going to be better. So next time that doesn't occur. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to apologize for the action, because that was with the information I had at the time. That was the best me that I could be. Right. But I understood that affected you. So I'm going to apologize for that. Right. So now I'm going to take that and I'm going to be better.
So how do you handle when you had the information and say you may have been overly emotional or drained or didn't have the capacity, so you react in a way that's not the best?
That's why I got to take accountability for the action. But I'm saying if I'm ignorant, right? I'm not ignorant means you have the information. Let's just say I don't know any better.
Yeah.
I'm not aware. My awareness is low.
Oh, got you.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In that instance.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Brittany, I apologize.
Ooh.
If I made you feel like I wasn't cut, if I was cutting off your thoughts, I apologize.
You can have it. You got it.
All right, man. Let's get into this fair and foul. I'm gonna throw it to my girl Asia, then we're gonna get up out of here.
All right, y'all. Let's get into this fair foul. So, scenario. Shorty moves in with her man, okay? Her partner, okay? And she moves in, she settles in. It's his home. And he tells her that she has to pay rent. He is charging her rent. And also, it's his house, and the house is paid off. Is that fair or is that foul?
Hey, what did I miss? She lives with him.
What? Yeah, so she moved in with him, and he is charging her rent. Okay, even though he owns the house, and the house is paid off. Is that fair or is that foul?
He got to pay the taxes every year, don't he?
Hey.
And so
He does.
And,
no, go
and
ahead,
also,
bro. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, and then also there's bills that are associated with living, right? Utilities, as an example. So I would assume he's charging her. I mean, I'm not trying to blow it up, but is there any more context to how much he's charging her? Like he hitting her with a honey bun, like that's 1,500, 60, like a real, or he like give me 500.
She's paying like 1,200. So she's paying like half of what like the mortgage would be. Let's say.
Oh, he and they living in DC. The more he hitting her with a honey bun, that's foul, yeah. But I could see if he's getting something because there's living expenses and there are taxes. But 1,200 sounds like a bit much. You know what I'm saying?
What would make that fair for you? Like what amount would make it fair?
If it was like $500, I think $400 or $500 just to mitigate expenses, right? I know a lot of things are shared, i.e., like groceries and etc. But you know, now there is a misnomer that a person moving in the house exacerbates utilities. It doesn't really, right? But something on it, right? Because the brothers edify me on the equality thing that's so much, you know. So I want to make sure that I cater to the feminist movement that she bought into. So I want to make sure that I respect all her boundaries that the brothers edify me that I should respect and make sure she put in on this. I don't want to treat her like a traditional woman that she don't like that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I just want to make sure we're being fair to her. You feel me, Asia?
Yeah.
I feel you. What do y'all think? What's some other thoughts? Is it fair or is it foul?
Brittany, princess.
I think it's fair depending on the amount.
Yeah.
What would be too much?
That $1,200 that you just said.
It's a fact.
Okay. So, Princess, may I ask a question? I'm being serious, no troll. Asking a real question.
Mhm.
So, the philosophy of the date earlier, when we spoke about like people doing things for others that they can already, that things that people are already doing for themselves.
Mhm.
I'm asking, why would anything less than what you were capable of already doing for yourself be foul? So
Because if I
Mhm.
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, if you moved out of your place and say it matched whatever you was paying, even no matter the amount, why in the dating world, like, I can do this for myself, so I'm doing this, but in the rent world, that same philosophy is not applicable, or is it applicable in that world?
Because it's not a rent in this situation. So I would agree with the point that you're trying to make if it was
Mhm.
if the question was that he had a mortgage still,
Okay. Okay.
but he doesn't. So in my opinion, the $1,200 is foul. But if it was a different or lower amount, I think that that's fine.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm foul. I think it's foul. I think only because it's asking for. It specifically says rent and he owns the home. I'm not sure if the bills equate to what the cost of rent is. So really it's like, I mean, oh, we could talk about what you'd like for me to pay or contribute in this home. I don't mind doing that. But rent in itself, I just feel like that's a pretty high number.
Hmm.
I'm from
Yeah.
Miami, man. Rent about 3 grand down here. So if you asking me to do that and the house is paid off, that's a lot of money for me.
Yeah.
We ain't doing that.
I may not say pay me rent, but I'm gonna put some things on you that you could take care of elsewhere, probably. Like if I because essentially I've still taken care of our place of living if I paid the home off that we're in. Like I may be like, okay, this is yours, the utility, the groceries. Like we may not be splitting groceries because you're not paying rent. You know what I'm saying? We might not, we might be taking care of some things that I don't want to worry about anymore. But I just don't see a world in which I'm not trying to be funny, and I'm not trying, but that seemed like a come up. Like you moved in with me for something paid for, and now you don't gotta pay nothing just because you came to my spot.
Yeah.
That you paid off.
Yeah, that seemed like a come up. Like I don't see how I'm winning in that.
That's a lick.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely a
yeah.
lick. Yeah. Don't let her. Let me look in the camera, fellas. Don't let her move in there without zero expectation. All right. Don't let her move in there like she don't have to make any contributions. Don't let her put them cheap Nine West shoes in that closet before you tell her you're gonna be responsible for something. All right, that's the key. Because once you get comfortable, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? You got to make sure expectations matter, and expectations have to be agreed upon. We make too many assumptions about things we expect. You know, you would think a grown adult was right? You think she'll come in here and say, "I expect to contribute." Hell no, nah. You ain't say that. You know, so you got to make sure you say it outright. You know.
Hey, fella. Somebody said, what if it was flipped? Section 8, her rent 100, but she telling you 1,500.
Didn't that happen?
Wait,
Yeah,
that's
it
a real
did. It
scenario.
did.
I was like, that
Look.
happened.
Yeah, hey, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be real with you. See, we told you straight up it ain't no rent. That's manipulation. We told you
Yeah.
straight up it ain't no rent. See the difference?
Yeah.
We led with this joint paid off. Let's negotiate. You went straight to finessing.
Yeah. Oh, and that scenario, shout out to Relly. That's more real for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's where dudes make the mistake of moving in with her. Section 8 or not. That's a huge mistake because now that leverage, right, it's always over your head. But I've seen this happen multiple times, you know.
I don't know if that's sustainable in our day and age. At our age,
Mm.
moving in completely in somebody else's space, I don't know if that's sustainable, dog. Like I don't, unless the people are on opposite ends, meaning like somebody does have a paid off for a home. You know what I mean? But like
Yeah.
moving into somebody's space is dangerous to me.
Yes.
Either
Like,
side, either
'cause
side.
like you're saying, the home that's paid off makes sense,
Yeah.
right? Why would we accrue more costs, right? But move in while somebody paying a mortgage or rent, right? That quote, this my shit, right? That's some shit you can't come back from.
Man, boy, look here.
You know,
You might as well kick me out that day. If somebody say that goes see, like back to the trust thing. If somebody says that to you and you living with them, they'll never trust you safety wise in that house anymore. If somebody hang something like that over your head, it's cooked. And I'm not because I'm gonna start moving weird because I think you're gonna say that. And I think that's how you feel for real. So you're under 10%, man. Certain things you just can't say. You just can't say it, dog. That's crazy, man. Yeah, but she got hey, Denzel said it best, man. I'm leaving here with something. She gotta come up off something, dog. Something. I ain't gonna say I'm charging you rent. I'm getting a Cash App Zelle or something, man. It's the first of the month. You gotta give me something, man. You gotta give me something.
Yep.
Anything else on that fair or foul, y'all? All right, so
that was good though. That was good.
Appreciate it. Hey, DJ Hunt, man, appreciate you coming through, bro. Appreciate you showing love, man. You are now part of the crew. Anytime you want to come through, you're more than welcome.
Say
to
less.
The chat, everybody that tapped in tonight, man, appreciate y'all. We are Millennials vs. the World. This is Monday Night Crew, man. We stream every other Monday, and Last Name Loyalty streams on the opposite Monday. So appreciate everybody tapping in. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. I'm your boy K. Mims. I got the ladies of the show, Miss Brittany, Miss Princess, Miss Asia. I got my bro Louis B. And I got the special guest tonight, DJ Hamp. Appreciate you tapping in, man. It's Millennials vs. the World, Monday Night Crew, and we are out.
You are now tuned in to the realest podcast.
NW.